Well, well, well. Guess who's back? Hopefully, hello, one of you. Hopefully, I get most of the team back so we can talk about what the hell just happened with my internet. Oh, they left. Oh, they're back. Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back to the shit show that is my life. I'm gonna let a few more people join before I explain myself. Hello, Devin. Hello, Mr. Moore. Hello, everyone. Let me know when you're back in the chat so we can talk about what just happened. You and your hashtags. Hey, Kevin. Yes, Eminem, I agree. How are you doing, homegirl? I'm okay now. I just, I wasn't crazy. If y'all were, a few of y'all were in the live when I was like, is there somebody in my driveway? Or is that my neighbors? They sound like they're in my driveway, yada, yada. Well, they were. The neighbors that live right next to me are Hispanic. And so I'm hearing like car doors and people speaking Spanish. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's my neighbors. And then my internet goes out and I'm like, what the heck? So I'm like trying to figure out what's going on because it hasn't gone out in a long time. And I'm like, there's no reason for it to be going out right now. So I take a little peek out my window and I see this guy like running a cable down the fence, like going around the corner to the other property. And I'm like, well, what the heck? So I go out there and he comes back around the corner. I'm like, is there a problem? Because once I go outside, I see the Xfinity van. It's literally like parked right here. And there's not a window here. There's a window in front of me. So I couldn't see that he was parked on the side of the trailer. So I come around and I see the Xfinity van and I'm like, I know I'm kind of late on my bill, but I also paid half of it. And they normally wait like a month before they cut it off. So I'm like, there's no way that they're just casually cutting off my internet. So I'm like, what's going on? And since my neighbors are Hispanic, I guess they requested a Spanish-speaking technician. So this fellow doesn't speak very good English, and he's like, we're trying to communicate, like, hey, my internet's out. Why is my internet out? And he's like, oh, I'm hooking it up for the neighbors. I'm like, okay, but my internet's out. And he's like, oh, just like 5 minutes, 5-10 minutes. I'm like, okay. So I pull up the live chat or whatever on my phone, and that's where I see like the live stream was still going with my frozen picture, because I was sitting here talking to y'all and I look up and I see that the chat was disconnected, but the live timer was still going. I was like, okay, well, that's strange. And so I'm like looking at it, and that's when I noticed down below on my little toolbar or whatever, taskbar, that my internet there was no connection to the internet. So I go out, I try to end the stream. I click end stream and it was like, oh, we're having a problem with that right now. So I restarted my laptop assuming that it would just end the live stream, but it didn't. So I'm dealing with the freaking Wi-Fi. I go in there and check my modem. The light is solid white, which means it's fine. And I'm like, well, what's going on? Is it just my laptop? That's when I hear my kid crying in the room because her tablet got disconnected. I'm like, okay, so what's going on? That's why I went outside and found the Xfinity technician. So I come back in and I'm like waiting. And that's when I got on my phone and noticed that the live chat was still going and that y'all were like clowning me, hashtag RIP Tay's connection. And I'm like, dang. So I chat with y'all in the chat for a little bit. And then the internet comes back on. I come in, I refresh it, and it goes back out. I'm like, oh my God. So I go back outside and I tell the guy, and he's like, okay, just 5 minutes. And I'm like, okay. So I wait 5-10 minutes again, and then come on, and it looks like it's okay. It says it's connected. So I refresh, and it says no internet connection again. So I have to go back out there again. And I'm like, okay, it just went out again. he's like, okay, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I'm like, you said that, but it's also been like 30 minutes now, and I was working. and so like I come back in, and then it was just like really overwhelming. Like it was such like an anxious moment. And then the internet came back on, but when it came back on, Walmart was delivering my groceries, so I had to put my groceries up. And then once my kids saw the groceries, all of a sudden she was hungry again. So I had to make her something to eat. I didn't even eat, but I made her a sandwich and jumped back on to explain myself. So that's where we're at now. I'm sorry, Mr. Moore, that I disrupted your sleep. But for what it's worth, I think I'm going to finish voting for the VMAs. Well, shit, indeed. And it's like, I can sense when I'm going to have problems, like in a day. Like my anxiety kind of tips me off, like, hey, this is going to be kind of a rough day for us. So like, I think I told y'all in the first live stream this morning that I woke up at like 3 a.m. I couldn't like really fall back into a sleep because every time I was like feeling like I was in a deep sleep, I'm like, oh, damn, you got to go live. So wait. Yeah, well, I just didn't understand why my internet connection got shut off. Because like I come out, I'm like, why do you have to like be over here messing with my shit to give them internet? I'm like, you're in an Xfinity van, you're in an Xfinity uniform and shit, so it's not like you're just here stealing my internet, but it's like, why? Is my internet messed up? And that's when I finally told him, I was like, but I'm working and I got kicked off. And it's like 5 minutes was fine, but you keep telling me 5 minutes, and it's been like 30 minutes now. And I mean, he kept apologizing, and I was telling him, like, it's not gonna see, why is it all of a sudden showing me 20? That's so confusing. I think every one of your live streams always has a unique moment. This day. It says your connection is unstable. Why? Okay, it went away.